Well, what's up, everybody? So, yes, we are now tackling the lighter side of the horoscope. We are tackling the ninth lord through houses. And what happens when the planet that controls your ninth house in your horoscope is sitting in the first house? And obviously, if you do not know where your ninth lord is placed, what ninth lord is, where your other planetary placements are, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects at the Speed of Light. So, ninth house. What is ninth house? Well, ninth house pretty much shows your higher belief system, your philosophical views, your spiritual views. It represents, taking pilgrimages, taking long distance journey, experiencing different cultures, experiencing different, pretty much different people of different backgrounds. Ninth house represents law. Ninth house represents, your gurus. Ninth house represents pretty much the higher side of your soul. And this is why ninth house is known as one of the most important houses in the horoscope, as a dharma bhava. Dharma meaning your higher purpose in life. And higher purpose in life, in astrological terms, is always spirituality. So no matter, what you're doing in this life, your highest dharma in this life will always be spirituality. So that's what ninth house is. And ninth house represents how fortunate you feel. It represents your luck. How lucky do you get in this life? And mainly though, if you ask me, just pretty much higher knowledge, post-grad education, master's degree in the real world. So what happens when the planet whose sign is controlling this house is sitting in the first house? Well, what is the first house? The first house represents you, your personality, your ego, your self-esteem, your physical self. It's everything about you, your health. So when this planet goes into the first house, what this shows is that you, instead of being instead of influencing other houses or ninth house, you now are getting influenced by the ninth house. What this shows is that your ego and your personality and your views on the world was developed by a higher spiritual, higher spiritual backing of people. It was molded and shaped by your gurus, by your teachers. Shows that father must have instilled a lot of religion and spiritual knowledge in you. Shows that your personality was always influenced by people of spiritual caliber, people of religious caliber, kind of like priests. Okay, so priests and spiritual people are always trying to come to you and always are trying to influence your personality and who you are as a person. Shows that law, has influenced who you are. Dealing with law has influenced who you are. So it's all the higher side of your influence, higher side of life is now influencing you. So this in a way becomes a very powerful yoga. It becomes a very powerful Dhan yoga, Lakshmi yoga, and also becomes a Raj yoga, meaning that you will rise to a throne of spirituality, rise to a throne of philosophical institution, rise to the throne of an educational institution. So you can be a professor in the Mahadasha of the ninth house, and you can also become somebody who's kind of like a leader of education, leader of higher knowledge, because now you're influenced by all these things. So now, depending upon what planet controls your ninth house, will differentiate all these things. So let's discuss that. So let's say if Sun controls your ninth house and Sun goes into the first house, what this shows is that father was a very spiritual and religious person. Father instilled a lot of higher values in you, higher spiritual values in you. he instilled, how to follow law, always follow the law, always follow what the government says. So these kind of people may actually go into government, go as in India as an IAS officer or as even an attorney, because of the fact law now becomes a huge part. The law is influencing them because now Sun is in the sign of Sagittarius, which represents the law. So whether they become policemen or army people or security people or whoever just wants to follow the law and make sure people are protected is seen by this position. Let's say if Moon controls your 9th house, goes into the 1st house, shows Mother was the one who did all of this instead of the father. Mother was the one who instilled a lot of higher beliefs in you. Mother was the one who instilled a lot of religious beliefs in you, spiritual beliefs, philosophical beliefs. Shows you're emotionally connected to your 9th house. You're emotionally connected to the spiritual side of life. And this, remember, 9th house has really nothing to do with occult. It's just that astrology becomes a part of the 9th house as well, because astrology in Hindu religion is actually spirituality. It's Vedas. Vedas are represented by the 9th house or the 5th house. So astrology naturally becomes a part, but I just don't talk about it because astrology, interest and influence of it was really seen from the 8th house. But here shows that you are emotionally connected to your mother through her spiritual and religious studies. Like anytime you and your mother are going to a church, temple, mosque, you feel connected with your mother. Okay? And shows a person who really becomes keen towards investigating things related to religions, things related to spirituality and philosophy. These people might actually turn against religion and philosophy and may actually say this thing doesn't work, like James Randi. People become very research type according to these things. They can become priests because they're researching on the subject of religion, or they're simply getting their PhD in religion. They want to see what religion is, what culture is, what higher belief system is. Is it a placebo or is it something that really exists? Can seen from this moon. Let's say if Mercury controls your 9th house, and Mercury goes into the into the 1st house, what this shows is that you get influenced a lot by higher communication. You get influenced a lot by your siblings who are well educated. They become a great influence on you. Your friends who are spiritual, religious will influence you. Your speech is very philosophical. Your speech becomes very articulate by you hanging around with the people of the 9th house. And it shows that you may actually become a priest or a preacher with this position of Mercury. You will talk a lot about philosophy. You will talk a lot about religion or spirituality. But obviously, in order to see a priest, you have to see what other aspects and conjunction a person receives. Let's say if Venus controls your 9th house, Venus goes into the Ascendant. What this shows is that you get influenced a lot by women of different cultures, women of different ethnic background. Your personality is always shaped by running into female or feminine-like personalities who shape your way of the world, who shape your way of higher philosophy, who kind of broaden your horizon. Shows you have tremendous love for traveling with Venus. Your joy and passion through other women suddenly becomes traveling. Like perhaps you met a girlfriend who suddenly gave you a travel bug. So that is seen from this Venus. Venus can somebody make a very, very spiritual artist. Like whenever this person has any kind of art, whether it's fashion, whether it's painting, sewing, crafting, will always have a philosophical and spiritual influence to it. They feel that creativity becomes their dharma. Their wife can become their dharma. They'll be dedicated to their wife, like religion or spirituality. And wife, because Venus, if in a Vedic astrological chart especially, represents the wife, but it's also the karaka of marriage. What this shows is that through marriage, you get transformed in your higher beliefs. You suddenly find spirituality as a love and passion. With this Venus, you can become very well balanced in spiritual and religious belief. you may not go to the extreme extent. But if Mars controls your 9th house, and Mars goes into the ascendant, shows that you may actually take religion and higher philosophy to the blood. You may shed blood on the name of religion and philosophy. You may actually fight for religion, fight for philosophy. Obviously, in these days now, we have terms like terrorist, who may be fighting for a higher religious or spiritual cause. This also shows somebody who can become a fighter or lawyer for the government. Because remember, who is a lawyer? Mars is a karka or significator of law, of a lawyer, not law, lawyer. Why? Because lawyer is the one who fights for you in the court. And what is Mars? Mars is the one who's fighting for you. So it shows through your brother, you are influenced a lot regarding religion and spirituality. But at the same time, you may have gotten into power struggle arguments with your brother on higher philosophy and learning. You may either abandon spirituality or religion, or you may embrace it to the point where you will kill for it. So extreme switching in beliefs is seen with this. Let's say if Jupiter controls your 9th house, Jupiter goes into the ascendant, can show somebody who can be a great motivational teacher, can be a great figure who instills a lot of higher philosophical and ethical values in you. Somebody can become a sports coach with this, who can motivate his students, his players to reach a higher goal. Because remember, anytime they talk about sports, the coach will always approach sport as a philosophical thing, spiritual thing. You know, he feels that it is a war that he has to go to with his soldiers and win that war through higher belief that they will achieve that win, they will score those goals, you know, they will block those shots. And Jupiter here can definitely make somebody a teacher. Mercury and Jupiter both can make somebody a preacher, a teacher, or a motivational speaker in a way. But your higher philosophical beliefs will really turn you into a natural guide. Anybody who talks to you, anybody who comes across you, they will know you as, hey man, this guy is just a natural teacher. He just knows what he's talking about. Let's say if Saturn controls your 9th house and Saturn goes into the ascendant, what this shows is that your ability to believe in religion and your ability to believe in philosophical things may have been either blocked, or you yourself may have been dissatisfied from it. You may have come across very strict teachers. You may have come across very mature, but at the same time very disciplined, organized teachers that wanted to instill a lot of higher belief in you, but not through a polite way, but through a very strict way. And because of that, you might have ran away from religion. You might have ran away from organized spiritual organizations or religious organizations. But this can also show somebody who knows how to abide by the law. They become very good at judging other people's character with the Saturn, and shows that later on in life they may actually embrace religion and spirituality in a way that they never thought they would. They will become so disciplined, so organized, so structured in their learning of religion and philosophy that they may actually beat somebody with Jupiter in the 1st house. Because Saturn is a very slow-moving planet. So all the knowledge of the 9th house comes very slowly and steadily to you, but once you reach a certain karmic age, Saturn just totally releases you and gives you everything that you want. But all throughout life, though, you become the student of 9th house. Because Saturn will always move slow, even though it has released you of its karmic backlog. It'll always give you slow education, slow learning. So these guys will be like either bookworms or learning philosophical books throughout their life. But they are very keen about following the law. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of 9th Lord in the 1st house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you do not know where your 9th Lord is placed and where your other Lord through houses are, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report and my books. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.